NERDORTIC.com.
Wow, this is going to be good,
nice
guys.
What a bitch.
Okay, so NERDORTIC is he's outspoken, and he is a fan of Marvel movies, but he's also very critical, and he has that right. Sometimes he's a little bit too calloused, elbowed when he throws his blows, but more often than not as well, he's on point with his observations and his opinion. So I want to do a reaction video. I hope that I'm doing it okay. What we're doing is we're watching NERDORTIC. All right, let's get into it from the beginning. Here we go. NERDORTIC.
Make this video. Ladies and gentlemen, this might be the end for NERDORTIC.
What?
This channel is under attack, and it's under attack from a Disney employee.
Dun, dun,
Now,
dun.
I know that's pretty normal around these parts, but this Disney employee just so happens to be the star of the most important film ever made. The record-breaking, record-smashing first film to feature Asians.
Absolutely.
And an
That's
Asian
kind of rad,
superhero,
right?
Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Now, like I said in the beginning, this guy is definitely a Marvel fan. He's definitely critical, and he can throw some pretty on point, well observed points. So, the backstory of what we're getting ready to watch is the star of Shang-Chi. I can't do it. He calls NERDORTIC out. And, you know, this dude has almost 500,000 subscribers. It's pretty cool. He can be a little tough at times. But more often than not, he's on point. Let's keep watching.
Now, I don't want you to confuse this star with Mengar Zhang, who played Zhe Ling. No, we're talking about her co-star, Simu Liu.
So what NERDORTIC complains about the most is that since Brie Larson and her outspokenness, he calls the MCU the M-she-you. He's very sarcastic. It's very funny. Pop over and watch some of his stuff. Let's keep watching.
This is probably the most important video I've ever made. Please watch it all the way through, and please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already.
I will do that, like, share, and subscribe. He seems very somber. He's very confident on camera. I wonder if there's a twist at the end, though. Let's go.
NERDORTIC.com.
I met Simu. Nice guy. What a bitch. I don't give a f- if I met you or not. Yeah. This is a podcast. We're going to talk about it topically. And if he wants to have a conversation with me later on, you can't. Bro, that was the most bitch-made thing I've ever seen in my life.
Shang-Chi has apparently broken some records over the 3-day Labor Day weekend, smashing films like Rob Zombie's Halloween. Now, I know the analogy has been made that this is equal to, say, Shang-Chi being LeBron James and he goes to a high school and plays one-on-one with a 16-year-old and kicks his ass. I'd say a better analogy would be Shang-Chi is a 15-year-old boys soccer team taking on the women's national team. That being said, this channel is actually under attack. It is not hyperbole at all. Yeah, it's not actually that unusual at all. Disney employees come after this channel all the time, but usually it's not the star of a Marvel movie.
Dun, dun, dun.
I did a live stream today, took a little nap because I'm an old man, and when I woke up, I saw the normal Marvel stands in my Twitter feed posting up an image of some of our thumbnails with the word flop on it and going, ha ha, and like that's normal. Usually the Marvel stands show up during the first episode of a Disney Plus series or the opening weekend, say, of Black Widow, and then they disappear, and I don't think it's going to be any different here. But when I clicked on the image, I saw who actually posted that, and I couldn't believe it. I'm like, did I do something right today? Is it Christmas? Simu Liu, the star of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Shang-Chi.
The co-star to Mengar Zhang.
See, there's a
has
zinger.
decided to call out YouTubers, normal people well, I don't know, in my case, semi-normal, just an idiot with a microphone and an internet connection. Of all the things this guy is thinking about, he's thinking about yours truly and some of my friends. And no, I'm not the only one
That's
who was
gotta feel
blocked.
good.
In this Instagram post, he went after my co-hosts on Friday Night Tights, Az from Heel vs. Babyface, Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, Ryan, baby boy Ryan from RK Outpost, and our good friend, the Critical Drinker. Who goes after the Critical Drinker? Jeremy from The Quartering, The Great Clownfish TV, and some others.
I do watch the Critical
But that's
Drinker.
what you need
That's
to
good.
remember
That's good
here.
too.
This is the big takeaway, because no, I'm not actually under attack, and I'm not bothered by this at all. And he's going after us because we're in his head. And why? I mean, you got to ask the question why. This guy is starring in a Marvel movie, a historic one, according to Disney Marvel. This guy's got the world at his feet right now. What's he worried about? Some YouTubers. Well, I can't get into his head, and I'll speculate on that a little bit later in the video. Maybe he's feeling bad for taking part in a bit of a false narrative. Yes, the film did crush previous Labor Day records, including defeating Rob Zombie's Halloween and Jeepers Creepers 2. But as my good friend Odin from OMB Reviews pointed out, his video will be linked in the description. If you match Shang-Chi up with other MCU openings, it's towards the bottom. And if you adjust for inflation, which is very difficult to do because you have to do it hourly these days, it's the third or second lowest MCU opening. Now, obviously, Simu didn't watch my video, or he would know that I was covering a Deadline article that was speculating that if Shang-Chi flopped or underperformed, it could lead to an Eternals delay, which could still happen for a lot of reasons. We're still
I'm
very
excited
early
about
on
Eternals
in this experimental 45-day window. Speaking of that, before I start feeling too special, it looks like this is part of Simu's modus operandi. He's a bit thin-skinned, and he likes to use that to his advantage. Part of being a good adult pretender in Hollywood is being an opportunist. Shang-Chi star Simu Liu on betrayal of Kim's Convenience cancellation. The show ran for 5 seasons, by the way. The show ended after its producers left, but Liu felt it could have continued. It was always our belief that there were other creators of color who could fill the void. Always making it about race, this guy. Always trying to pull something out of thin air.
Well,
and
you
went
do
after
too, man.
Bob Chapek, the CEO of Disney, when he simply said, hey,
hold on.
Shang-Chi is going...
Let me let you know. This guy does go. He makes it about race and gender. He seems a little butthurt. I like him. I laugh at the stuff he says. It's smart. It's quirky. And like I said, more often than not, he's on point. He's just got real sharp elbows, and he's a fighter. But I think he is a little butthurt. Let's keep watching.
Going to be an interesting case for us because this is an experiment. The first one in the 45-day window without the day and day release. And, of course, Simu tried to make it about racism.
The main actor, Simu Liu. So I read this article, and it's kind of going over Twitter, it's going on Facebook, and he makes a very interesting statement, right? It says that we are not your experiments, we're a culture, we're all this other stuff. So in my mind, I'm like, well, what's happening with this release right now? Did Disney say some racist shit? And I'm like, okay, what the fuck, right? So I read it, I'm like, oh, this experiment. I'm like, well, what does that mean? He says this is going to be an experimental thing for us. And he was talking about the 45-day theatrical.
Yeah. Now, okay. Simu Liu, star of Shang-Chi, responded to a president of Disney when the president said, this is going to be an experiment for us. And what he was talking about was how it's going to perform in the theaters in relation to the fallout of Scarlett Johansson suing Disney because her movie was put on Disney Plus. And she made money from the release, not as much as she would have in theaters. So that's what Bob Iger was saying. He was saying it's going to be an experiment. If it doesn't perform well, we're going to throw it on Disney Plus. And Simu Liu, the star of Shang-Chi, he flipped it into a racist thing. Let's keep watching.
Release before it goes to the digital, right?
Yeah.
And what in the fuck does that have to do with him talking about Asian
What's wrong
people?
with that?
Well, because, and so I'm like, okay, I met Simu, nice guy. What a bitch.
That was funny. They're talking about somebody.
This is a podcast. We're going to talk about it topically. And if he wants to have a conversation with me later on, you can't. Bro, that was the most bitch-made thing I've ever seen in my life.
And they go on to talk about all the damage this false virtue signaling does, which is a lot. And considering the country is pretty divided right now, we don't need any more of it. We already get plenty from Disney as a corporation, so I would say it's probably in line to get some from another Disney adult pretender. Now, this isn't about YouTubers, it's about you. That's the bottom line here. That's probably what bothers him the most, because he knows it's real fans talking about this stuff who are judging Shang-Chi as a superhero film, not as some Asian cultural moment, because that's not what I saw in it. I just saw a bad superhero film. But some people might have seen a good superhero film, and that's
It was
fine.
fun.
And it isn't about being right or wrong anyway. It's just about being informative, funny, or effective. That's what I'm trying to do on this channel. I'm not going to be right all the time, and thank God. It's freeing not to have to be right all the time. It sounds like Simu is a little prickly about that stuff. Here,
You're a little
Simu,
prickly,
you had a
too.
good weekend, dude. Take your victory lap. What are you messing with YouTubers for? But hey, thank you. I appreciate it. See, I am grateful that I was called out by the star of a Marvel movie. I can't wait to tell my kids.
Unless you're a dumbass or you're just an angry, like closeted Asian anger person. Closet not as in gay, but closet as in you're just this Asian person
point.
that's just been bullied your whole life.
He's
There's
calling out the
absolutely
superstar
no
of his
way
own
you would have
culture
taken
here.
that statement and misconstrued it as him attacking the Asian community.
That's a reach at its finest.
That is the fucking craziest reach I've ever read in my life.
And again, this is the big problem with the identity politics marketing. Disney does this to be critic proof.
So this is where he gets really grimy on his podcast. Identity politics. He's a snowflake hating, social justice warrior, fighting, angry man. And this is basically where he more often than not is right. He's just got sharp, bony elbows that cut.
They use people to deflect criticism to gain more profit. That is the very definition of exploitation. And no, they don't like it when we call it out.
He's got a
Hollywood
point.
would absolutely love for us to just shut up and be good little consumers. But unfortunately for them, at least for now, that's not the world we live in. Again, Simu Liu has a right to his opinion. He can take
Absolutely.
his victory laps, and he can mock me all he wants. I don't care. I think it's kind of funny, and I couldn't believe it when I saw it. And it's part of the gig. I throw out a lot of criticism. I need to be able to take it, and I do every day, and I'm still grateful for it. And I think that's the one thing that bothers
that's a
the
good
most
thing that he said.
fans is the ingratitude. Dude, you get to pretend for a living and get paid well for it, and you get your cheddar. Just act like you've been there before. But I do have a problem with adult pretenders going after the paying customer, and that has to stop. I do have a problem with Disney playing into all the divisiveness in this country and supporting camps that you concentrate in while pretending to virtue signal and, again, use communities for profit. And I will continue to call that out, and I hope you do too, because that's who they want to silence. It's not just me or Jeremy or the other Jeremy or Az or Ryan or Clownfish TV. It's you. If you like what you heard, please like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like what you heard, I thank you for listening this long. I will be talking about this on The Real BBC in just a couple of hours. If you're watching this in the future, that live stream will be linked in the description. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next video.
Shang-Chi already has great publicity. People were excited for this film.
Yeah.
Why did you have to do that?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
NERDORTIC.com. Please subscribe.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Go subscribe. So, here's my reaction on that. Too many sensitive people that don't feel like they're being heard. So, film critic, movie star, this is war. All right, y'all. I love you. God loves you. I wanted to try to do a reaction video about something important, not just fun stuff. Be sure to check out NERDORTIC on the YouTubers. Other than that, kids, thanks a lot. We'll talk to you later. More on that in a moment.